masterclass that lasts over 4 to 5 hours. And then we find out that most people just get overwhelmed, and it's really hard for them to follow, especially if you're already having brain fog, you're having all the symptoms. So this year we're trying something new. This time is a 3 days masterclass, and different day is doing different tasks. So tomorrow and the day after will be different things. But today we're going to go over what's the causing your brain fog, what it actually means. Is it telling you something way more deeper red flag, or something that is no problem? So today we're going to explore it, and tomorrow we're going to go over some assessment, some testing you can do. We are all doing together to find out, hey, is it really an issue for you? Like, is it something happening in the brain? And more importantly, is I'm going to tell you my framework of how to get rid of those brain fog so that you can start getting your mental clarity back. Okay, so let's get started. So is my audio going through all right? Can someone type 1 down below if my audio is going through? Okay, awesome. Let's get started. So how many of you, let me ask a really quick question. How many of you are coming here because you have brain fog and you want to think more clearly? Type 1 down below if this is you. So Tina said, brain fog. Some people can think really clearly. Something having a really bad somatic symptom. Maybe they are having anxiety coming from nowhere. They can't sleep. They have sound sensitivity. They have light sensitivity. So let me tell you about my story, how I get to help people with brain fog, and how I discovered the secret about why people don't know, but I know about it. So everything start almost 6 to 7 years ago. On that night, I was still doing my doctorate school in the US. In just my first semester in the state, I was like driving home one night. It was peace, chilling, the wind blowing on my face, and I was blasting my music. But suddenly I just hear like, boom, something hit my car really, really bad. My car was shaking, and I looked to the left, and the only things I noticed is a giant headlamp on the left side of my car. And then I soon find out I was get hit by a truck. So any one of you watched the movie Transformer, the giant robot things? So I was get hit by the biggest truck in the whole US. The truck was so long, probably like almost 30 meters. But then my car get slammed on the side. And then my car kept spinning and spinning and spinning. And then finally, I walk out alive, just one piece. I'm still talking to you guys. But this is what my car looks like, something like this. The car was totally destroyed. But I walk out, and my friend and me walk out alive. And then the EMT look at us. You looks fine. You looks perfectly fine outside, but let's send you go get checked. And then we go to the hospital. The doctor look at your pupil, test my reflex, like touch my neck, touch my back. Oh, is anywhere hurting? I said no. And then after that, they do all the normal routine check. They do the, scan, X-ray, CT. They run all the blood tests that they can find. And then they all tell me, you're fine, just go home, take some break. Even though you think dizzy, you can think, you may having the adrenaline rush, that's okay, just go back home. Everyone do something like this. You'll be better in few days. So I did. And that's what I believe in them. And then week after week, my symptoms seems getting worse. Every night when I lay down on my back, staring at my ceilings, I will feel dizzy. I feel like I'm floating, not really like spinning. My head is hurting. I can think. When I look at the book, like I still have testing to do. I have exam while I was in the school. I was looking at the textbook, looking at the spreadsheet, looking like doing the math, but something's not clicking. I recognize all this word and letter, but I just seems I just seems can't understand what it actually means. And I thought, oh, maybe I just get tired. I need to get more rest. But then one day, my friend told me, my friend Vanessa asked me, hey, Tommy, why are you keep asking us the questions over and over again? We just answered you like literally 5 seconds ago. And then I would say, huh? What did you say? And then only at the time I finally realize I have some things going on, but I just don't seem to notice it. But people notice it quite obviously. So I was like panic. Oh, what is happening to me? So I go to see doctors after doctor. I see all the specialists like neurologists, like psychiatrists, like chiropractor, doing PT, doing OT, like everything. Everything seems just telling me, hey, it's fine. And then at that time, there's a doctor tell me, hey, maybe it's just in your head. Maybe stop think about it, and you might get feeling better. Maybe just go home and rest. But that symptoms, the feelings never goes away. I was really frustrated because that's over a year. No one's really tell me what is happening. But until one day, I went to a functional neurologist. They're not medical doctor, but they checked how people's brains working, rather than just how it looks on the scan. So they do testing how well your brain is functioning. And then the result is quite shock. What they find out in me is my brain function. At that time, I was 25 years old. And then my brain function only scoring 29 out of 200. That means my brain function literally working at 20 to 30% capacity. So imagine if you're studying doctor, your brain only working at 30%. You can think when you look at the paper, look at the book, there's nothing stick into your mind, just like you. When you're working right now, if you're accountant, business owner here today, how many of you ever feel like when you look at the numbers, look at the marketing strategy, you just blank out? It looks makes sense to me. It looks something to me, but I seems can't understand. Or you used to be really sharp. I can make this decision right now. People tell me I can make decision within 10 seconds, but right now something seems stopping you, but you don't know why. And today I'm going to tell you what is actually happening to you, and this might surprise you. And after that, after they find out the problem is literally inside my brain, I'm not imagining it. It's not stress. It's not anxiety. It's nothing from coming from imagination. It's all coming from a real cause happening inside my brain. And only 3 months, my brain changed from only would forgetting things 5 seconds ago to go back to normal. But normally you would say, okay, maybe you just stop there. But I want to experience how far my brain can heal, because your brain has an amazing ability to change and heal. Depends on how well and how many effort you put into it. Depends on if you're willing to know what is the root cause of your symptoms. So I didn't stop there. And then guess what happened? In just 3 years, I became a totally different person. I changed from a person that would forget things 5 seconds ago to something that I would never imagine I would achieve, which I graduating top class in my school. Imagine you can remember anything to graduating top class of your school. That means something, not just about yourself. That means something literally changed inside your body, but you just don't know why. But in my case, it's my brain getting smarter and smarter. And wait, I didn't stop there. I want to keep challenging my brain. What kind of things I can achieve compared to I need to lay on the bed for the rest of your life and praying, oh, one day I will get better. Right now, I got healed and I want to challenge myself. So what do I do every day is, every day after school, I would drive like 2 hours to an airport go there and back, and learn to fly an airplane. So before I become a doctor, I learned how to fly an airplane. So this is what something I achieved by changing how my brain function. You see, your brain is really amazing. If you if you're doing good to your brain, it can help you achieve a lot of things you think is impossible. But if you don't take care of it, some people just have maybe really mild have brain fog. Maybe they having dizziness. Maybe a lot of people having ADHD. They keep procrastinating and laying down and doing nothing. So this is the choice everyone can make, and I'm going to tell you how you can make a better choice for you today rather than regretting for the rest of your life. And let me introduce myself again. I'm Dr. Tommy Pang. I'm a doctor of chiropractic, and I'm also double board certified in functional neurology, which is the same kind of doctor that helped me change my brain. And I'm going to tell you today. And I'm also a former assistant professor in a university. I teach student and different doctor about how your brain works, how to check your brain, and also managing the top complex neurological symptoms no doctor want to touch because they don't know what's going on or they don't have the correct tool or framework to handle those complex cases, such as like concussion, like we're talking about Parkinson, dysautonomia, POD. Probably a lot of people have POD this day after COVID. Some people have dizziness and brain fog as for the topic of this masterclass today. And also I got featured a lot in different kind of media because of the things work I share on the internet. Maybe this is how you know me. And right now, I'm currently based in Hong Kong, and I work in a non-profit organization helping a lot of kids and adults. But kid is more the majority of the population right now. People having ADHD, autism, developmental delay, and yes, you heard me, ADHD. ADHD is also coming from your brain. So no matter if you have brain fog, ADHD, I'm going to tell you it's all the same things if we zoom back and look at a brain-based perspective. And also I would host seminar, and last November I just finished a seminar to 30 different doctors that teach them, hey, how this framework work so that we can spread this word to help more people like you, not just like by doing it all by myself. And then the only lessons or the biggest lesson I learned about my recovery and helping people get rid of their different neurological challenges. Brain fog and ADHD are the same thing, but they are just manifest in a different way. And also, they're coming literally from your brain. Your brain means in your head, you're not stressing it, you're not anxiety, you're not imagine. It's something really, really real. And it's only telling you something is happening. It's only a symptoms telling you something is going on. And different symptoms tell you what is actually happening to your brain, which is the framework of this masterclass for these 3 days. So for today, we're going to dive deep about what actually causing brain fog, what is actually happening. Some people say, hey, your nervous system dysregulated, or maybe you're having a nutrition deficiency, or maybe you have a mindset problem. Is it really, really the case? And let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like you're just forgetting things? You're zone out in a meeting. Maybe you used to finish a task, you finish this spreadsheet in only 30 minutes, but right now it takes you an hour, you keep procrastinating. Or when you talk to people, you're really hard to hold the eye contact. Or you just simply not feel like yourself anymore. Type me down below is if this is describe you. Let me know in the comment if this is something like you, or is it just me or just you. And let's check the Facebook audience right now so we don't forget them. Okay, so some people have it, some people don't. So that's okay. So if this is yes, I can tell you your brain is running on credit. It's just like a credit card. Are you running on using your own money, or you are borrowing your money to keep your brain running? Because brain fog, it's all about energy deficit. And no, it is not ADHD. I'm going to tell you about like ADHD is not just stress, it's not something going on in your head. ADHD is the most common abused word today, and it's really vague. ADHD stands for attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. Anyone can self-identify as in, oh, I have ADHD. Anytime I'm procrastinating, anytime I zone out, I have ADHD. How many of you have ever do something like this? Just type 2 or type ADHD down below if there's something you feel familiar or you have seen someone do this. Because ADHD is a category of symptoms. So when doctors or when people don't know what's happening, they will often just, it's ADHD. Just give it a name and then we're case closed. Okay, ADHD is normal. Everyone have it and you don't have to worry about it. But let me give you a really shocking statistic. Like ADHD brain fog, what would be the keyword we usually think? I forget things. I forget where's my key. I can't focus. What else? Maybe some people have dizziness, unsteadiness, clumsiness. They have poor coordination. Their dexterity get more. Yeah, executive function, exactly. Executive function means, am I able to follow the task? Am I able to do what I want to do? Am I able to understand what people tell me? Am I able to give the correct response to others? So this is all executive function. So, and there's a term described for it, like a medical term to describe when you lost those executive function, we call it cognitive decline. Imagine there's an old grandma. You tell them something and then they forget right away. Or when you told them something, oh, I'm going to do it, but then they don't do it. Or the symptoms I just mentioned. And the number this day is this is a research numbers. This is actual numbers. Most people think the cognitive decline only happen when is the PowerPoint showing up? Oh, it's coming up. Okay. So people think that the cognitive decline only happen in the old grammar, maybe when they're 60, 70. But the research show us for people around mid 40, there's more than 10% of them already having cognitive decline. Cognitive decline means they're actually having symptoms that can be observed or they're already feeling it. 10%. So 1 out of 10. So we have how many people? We have 13 people in the Zoom room and how many people in the live? I'm not sure. So let's say there's one in this, at least one people in this Zoom room having cognitive decline. How many of you are above age 40 right here? If you are, I want you to type your age group here. If you are between 40 to 50, you type number 1. If you're above 50, type number 2. If you are above 60, type number 3 for me. So we have someone 40-ish, some people 50. So most of us is 40 to 50. So if you imagine, so we already have 3 people that is between 40 to 50, but we are all having brain fog. So the statistics is already more than 10%. So this one is actually overlooked than the reality. So let's look at people over 60. 40% of people over 60 has mild cognitive impairment, which is a little bit worse than cognitive decline. And then 35% of people inside of this 40% in the next 10 years, they would progress to Alzheimer, which is brain degeneration. Their brain literally shrink. That means, by statistics, like 20 people, around 3 out of 20 people, they would eventually lead to Alzheimer or brain degeneration if they already having cognitive decline while they are in 40. But then why is that? If you see the number, it's obvious the older people get, the more chance they got cognitive decline. So we can conclude that cognitive decline is an aging problem. So brain fog equal to cognitive decline and it is equal to aging. However, if you are having brain fog and you're already having different kind of symptoms, then I will be worried. But if you are like 50, but if you are 60, 70 and you have brain fog, probably that's fine. That's aging. That's normal. So in short, let me repeat. If you're having brain fog, even some of us told me, hey, they are 30-ish. And then you're having brain fog, then you have a bigger problem than most of us. So if you're 30-ish having brain fog, really, really not good. If you're 40-ish having brain fog, probably starting telling you something, you have to take care of it. If you are beyond 60, 70, probably there's still a chance you can prevent it getting worse. But if you're after 70, 80, probably that's fine for you. So if you are 30-ish, that's a red flag. So this is technical definitions of different kind of brain fog symptoms. So I want everyone bring out a piece of paper if you are in a safe space. Maybe if you're driving, listen to us. If you're driving, don't do this. So if you are in a safe environment, I want you to get out a piece of paper. And let's write down if you have this. So Tina said, oh, food also affected nutrition. Absolutely. Brain fog, like the brain health, there's a lot of multi-factor things that couldn't cause it. So anyone get a piece of paper? When you're ready, type ready down below, and then we're going to do this activity all together. Brain fog, usually talking about cognitive side, but there's a lot of somatic symptoms that people don't talk about. So for executive symptoms, people will have difficulty in finding words. If in a meeting, you will forget a word. I want to say certain things, but then you can find it. And then second, you can only remember anything long term. Like for the old memory, you can remember really well. But for the short term, like maybe last week, maybe last month, sometimes you will just forget, or you will zone out when people ask you about the numbers. If you're in business, you forget, you have to check out the spreadsheet, something like that. And you will notice your thinking getting slower. And then one symptoms people don't talk about is blinking. Blinking, if you notice your colleague, your friend, keep blinking a lot, that's also a sign your brain is losing its function so that it has to blink more. This is all describing cognitive function, but some people would have a physical sensation that people don't know, don't think, don't thought about as brain fog, but it's all related. For example, they will have maybe the pressure in the head, they will have the lightheadedness, not necessarily like dizzy. When they walk, they will feel like, I don't really feel my feet, where my feet is stepping on. Maybe they are feeling on a boat, they're just kind of floating on the air, shifting side to side. Or some people would describe, oh, I have a disconnection between my body and my mind. I just seems can't feel my body as much. Some people will have eye straining when they look at the spreadsheet, when they look at the data, look at the document on a computer, their eye would get strained, their eye get watery. This is also a sign your brain aging as faster than it used to be, so that they don't have enough energy to do those activity. And also, like insomnia, people can fall asleep as easy. Like, of course, you have to think about stress. But some people, they don't have stress. They don't know where's the stress coming from. They're just having the intense fear coming out, coming inside because that's the brain not working, so that the brain freak out. It has to keep your brain awake and alive. Otherwise, they were afraid. When you go sleep, you're just gone. So that's what causes insomnia. And more thing is they have sensory overload. This often happen in ADHD as well. Maybe they will have sensitivity to noise, to light, smell, sounds, emotion, instability, numbness. This is all sign the brain is getting old, fatigue, not efficient, so that they're not able to filter and stop those sensory. So how many of you have the symptoms like this? Maybe you don't want to tell me how many what symptoms you have, but type a number down below. How many, if you have 3 symptoms, type 3. If you have 1, just type 1. In the comment, let me know how many symptoms you have that I just mentioned. Let me know in the chat. Or if you have a question, or some people have 3 of them. The more symptoms you have, the more severe your brain is working right now. And all the symptoms, and let me tell you, all the symptoms is not random. Different symptoms is telling you different part of the brain is it working or not. And some in the channel I have 11 symptoms, so there's almost half of it. So that's something pretty concerning. In life, there's 3 things you cannot really escape. So one is gravity. We are all living on this planet. There's all gravity on us. And second is tax. Everyone have to pay tax. And the third one is aging. So brain fog, aging, brain degeneration. No one can escape this fate. But what I can tell you is, the question you want to ask is, how well, how long you want to keep your brain healthy, just like tax. The question which people is keep talking about is, it's not about how many tax can I not pay tax. The question you have to ask is how much you want to pay your tax and what you can do to pay your tax less. And it is the same things happen to your brain. The question would be, how healthy do you want your brain to keep? And then the second is how I can slow my brain fog down so that I can keep my brain sharp as long as possible. Do you still remember the numbers? 40% of people above 60, they will have mild cognitive decline. And 10 years later, 30% of them, they will have Alzheimer. So if you can improve your longevity, maybe you getting brain fog only in your 70, in your 80, there's a more time you can do in your life and you can have a better quality of life. And then let's talk about what is actually happening inside in people that have brain fog. How many of you know biology, or you study biology, or you see the brain behind me? Inside your brain, there's billions of neurons. So the brain behind me, behind here, they are made up of billions of neurons, like the brain cell, just like your skin. Every time you shred off your skin, that's the cell peeling off. They die, then peeling off. So in the brain cell, every cell work in a similar way. Imagine this is like a different cable, and each brain cell is a processing unit. It's just like your cell phone. They have to communicate to each other to make sure your brain is working as 100% efficient. but something called the brain disconnection. It can cause by a lot of factors. First, maybe you're not using your brain correct enough. Second, your brain don't develop well when you grow up. Or third, someone said, oh, nutrition, environment factor. That's also can cause this brain cell to disconnect. The brain cell has a really amazing ability called neuroplasticity. They can connect and reconnect based on what kind of things you do. The more you do something, the stronger the connection it is. And how many of you, I bet everyone is really on social media. Have you heard about, hey, if you think for negative things for a lot of time, your brain would wire to negativity. Let me know in the chat if you heard something like this. If you think negatively, your brain will automatically look for the negative things. On the opposite side, if you're always thinking positive things, your brain would wire for the positive things. And this is what happened inside the brain. Anytime you think, let's say, for negative things, the more you think negative things, the neural pathway, the cell for the negative things is going to connect stronger and stronger so that they become the default way to work the brain, to operate the brain. So that means the more you do something, the stronger the connection is right now. Imagine if you're driving on a road, or if you are just let's say you're hiking on a grass, the more people walk the grass, the more distinct the trail become. And it is the exact same things happening in the brain. The more you use your brain, the better the trend, the function the brain can become. But then how does that relate to brain fog? Imagine if the trail haven't been walked for a long time, what would happen? Do you think the trail, it would be still here after few months or few years? Would that be still there? No. The grass may come up and cover the trail. And this is exactly what happened inside people and your brain having brain fog. Because our brain are so complex. There's a different area of the brain. We have, the green part, the yellow part, the blue part. After we left the school and after 25 years old, our brain consolidate and stop operate as much. And after we stop challenging our brain after school, not everyone are using their whole brain as much. Maybe some people are really good at, they need to move, require to do a lot of physical work every day so that they use the higher brain more. Maybe some people are really using their brain to calculating a spreadsheet, thinking order, doing this task. Maybe they're using the front part of the brain more. But then here is the catch. When you overuse one part of the brain, often people would neglect different other part of the brain as well, and then causing other part of the brain to disconnect, just like the trail. You keep using the higher part trail, but you didn't use the lower part. So then the lower part trail get covers over and over time, and then it loses the trail, so that the brain starting to lose its function. And anytime your brain lose something, symptoms comes up. Maybe some people just having, it seems like can remember things. And then there's some people symptoms getting worse. And if another few months, one extra symptoms would add up. And a few months later, more and more and more and comes up until your brain are failed to compensate, and then the somatic symptoms and more severe symptoms would come up. For example, like light sensitivity, balance issue, forgetting things, blinking in the eyes. There is more like in the phrase telling you the brain literally having something not good is happening. So there's 3 phases the brain will start losing its function. So imagine you have a phone. Your phone is today is brand new. But then what would make you purchase a new phone? Of course, it stopped working, right? So your phone, when it first stopped working, maybe the button getting lag when you press this app, it would take a lot of time to run. And then over time, it's not about just the software. Maybe the hardware broke. And then over time, you have to bring it back to repair. But then if you don't take care of the phone at that time, probably you have to change the whole new phone. And this is the same things happening in your brain. First, it starts with just the brain cell being disconnected. This is what happened in brain fog in the really early phase. Second is the dysregulation, which different part of the brain, they disconnected more and more, and then they cause dysregulation. And then the last phase is become the dysfunction. People having a lot of symptoms, they're having like weird things, they become bad bounded. They go to the doctor and then they don't know what's going on. That's dysfunction. And then the worst case is the brain degeneration. The brain literally shrink and no one can do anything. But don't worry. And if you are 60, 70, probably that's okay. But if you are 30, 40, 50 today, I want you to pay really, really attention about your brain health and use your brain in a more intentional way so that we didn't left out different part of the brain that we haven't used for a really long time. I want to share with you a story of my client. His name is James. And this is I'm going to show you something interesting, but his story is one day he walked into my clinic. He is only in his late 50, but then he was walking with his cane. And then his wife literally like holding him and walk, but he still can't walk. He like shaking, forgetting things. And then when he sit down, I do some testing and say, hey, look at my finger, follow my finger. And then he asked me, hey, which one do you want me to follow? Because I see 2 finger here. I see 2 Dr. Peng. Everything he see is double vision. And of course, this is a more severe case. And I asked his wife, hey, how long did James start having the symptoms? What symptoms did I ask about him is the one I asked you to write down on the paper earlier. Hard to find word, short-term memory, sensitivity, personality change, dizziness. And then his wife tell me he is all having these symptoms in his mid-30s. You see, this kind of brain fog didn't happen overnight, and brain degeneration didn't happen overnight. There's enough time for you to take action to stop or even reverse those brain fog, the damage due by the brain fog. But right now for James, it's already too late. And this is the brain scan his doctor helped him to do. If you look at the red circle here, let me show you how you read the brain scan. So dark space means air. Dark space means, in the space. I mean literally in the space. Dark space means there's nothing here, just like in the space. In the universe, the space is empty. Every dark space circle in the red circle is empty. But for normal brain, the brain should fill up almost the entire skull, like this here. But anyone see it was missing a really big pieces of trunk here. Type yes down in the chat below and let me know if you're tracking so far. So everyone see it, right? This takes years to develop. This is when you have this, there's nothing you can do. And the only things you can do is prepare your will. Prepare what you have to do before you leave this world. I know this sounds harsh, but this is what happened to him. James is not like, is no different than any one of you here. He's not like he take his really like well pay off, like fight career wise. He's one of the hosting a high position in a really famous bank. For health, it doesn't matter if you're poor and if you are rich. It's all would sneak up on you if you don't take care of it right now. And I'm going to show you a really interesting study here. Not this one. So, and the question, and okay, this one. A lot of people ask me, hey, should I just wait? The most common challenge, the most common mistake I see my patient or even people online make is they will keep asking me, they keep DMing me this question. Hey, should I just wait? Maybe my symptoms is getting better over time. How many of you would wait out to see if your symptoms getting better? Can you type me down below if you have a thought about this? Maybe I just wait out, maybe it will getting better. How many of you have this thought before? Because if this is you, I'm going to share with you this interesting here. There's a study show that for people that have ADHD, brain fog, like literally like PCS. PCS means post-concussion symptoms. They're literally having brain issue, like James. They've been having a lot of symptoms and dysautonomia. The research show that after 6 months, they don't wait. They go to see doctor, but they don't see the special doctor. They go to the regular doctor. They go do medication. They do exercise. They do meditation. They do cold plunge. This is called the standard care. The research show that only 4% of people would get back to where it used to be. Only 4% of people were getting better. And what more surprisingly is 70% of them, the symptoms would get worse after 5 years. 70%. So the chance is pretty solid. It's not gamble. It's not about the chance. It's destined to be happen. And do you know why? Remember, I talk about the brain function. The brain starting to disconnect it by itself. One is get disconnected, it get dysregulated, and then if you don't, when it get dysregulated, symptoms comes up. When you're still ignoring it, it will lead to degeneration, just like James. So that's why this research literally just prove what I just said. Disconnected, nothing changed. If you don't do anything special to rewire those brain, nothing's happened. And then if you don't take action, it will only get worse. 70% of the time, it's getting worse. How many of you are having brain fog symptoms? Or I know a lot of people here having like dizziness, pause or dizzy. How many of you are having this kind of symptoms more than 1 year? Type yes down below if this is you. And for the people who type yes, can you let us know, is your symptoms getting better, staying the same, or maybe every now and then more symptoms comes up? Everyone would be really interested to see, is it the real case or is it just research is showing? And some people maybe, oh, I don't really have brain fog, but I have ADHD. And let me share another study with you. So this study have 100,000 people, so that's pretty solid. People that have ADHD. Remember I told you ADHD, brain fog, aka brain degeneration, are the same thing. So this study showed that they do a follow-up for 100,000 people up to 20 years. Maybe they have ADHD in their teenage, maybe when they are um, in their 20 years old, 30 years old, and then they find out that among those 100,000 people, for the people who have ADHD, they have a 3 times higher chance of getting dementia, which is also a form of brain fog. You forget the things, right? And degeneration as well. So ADHD is just a different form of brain fog and cognitive decline. So if you literally having ADHD, like bad ADHD, I would hope you are not just telling yourself, hey, everyone have it, I have it, should be fine. Probably is not. This might be common. It didn't mean it's normal. And the most common struggle I heard people with ADHD, brain fog, is, hey, I'm missing the deadline. I'm making the mistake I would never made before. I lose the client because I can't perform as the same standard I used to be. Maybe, oh, I want to travel, but I can't because every time I step on the plane, I feel dizzy. Oh, I'm not in the right headspace to do such things. And the worst case, hey, I can't seem to enjoy the family time anymore because that's really frustrate me. I go dizzy when I go out. I can't go to the disco because the sound is really loud. I just want to rest. This is something the cost no one's really talk about. They just give them a label and brush it off. But how many of you literally see what is causing your life and your work? It seems really sad, right? But this is the reasons why we have masterclass for this one. Because if I don't have a solution, I'm not just going to fearmonger you all. Because I have a solution and I can tell you this can all be reversed if you do the right things. In the brain, there's a special ability that I have it, you have it, everyone have it. And this is called the neuroplasticity. How many of you hear this word before? Type neuro down below if you heard it before. Okay, so neuroplasticity. But no one talk about, hey, how do I actually use it? Most guru online or like neuroscientists talk about, oh, okay, your brain can change. The more you use, the better it changes. But no one tell you how you can use it. One of the famous example is, if you read some news before, like a 60 years old grandma. So there's a story about a 60 years old grandma. So one day, some friends, some people don't know her, go visit her home. And then he was like performing the piano like a professional pianist. And then people ask her, oh, when did you start learning piano? Are you always like this before? And then she said, no, I just learned piano 5 years ago. But then he played like a professional. And then some story is, hey, one of my client, Steven, just by activating this neuroplasticity so that his Parkinson, he can move faster. And also my friend, Rhonda, she have a mild brain injury and literally ADHD that get diagnosed at her 50. But now she become a successful business owner. This is all thanks to the neuroplasticity. But the only things people don't tell you is how you can use it and how you can use it correctly. So to cure your brain fog, you're not only just getting your mental clarity, improving your work performance, get your life back. That's the most things I heard from you guys. Hey, every time I ask you guys, what did that do for you? Or why do you want to cure your brain fog. You just, oh, okay, I want to get my life back. But also, not just saving the life right now, but also giving the life for you in the future. So I'm going to share with you another story about, this is a story about Veronica. She's one of my community members in the upcoming Brain Fog Mastery Lab. She is in her 50, early 50. But then little do we know that she haven't able to step out of the house for almost 10 years normally, because every time she step out, she'll feel dizzy. And also she feel like something really, maybe really common to you guys is she'll feel heart rate is pumping, she'll feel like sweating, and then no one knows what's going on. And she go doctor after doctor, no one seems what is happening. But when we do an assessment on her, we find out that she's having a really special type of brain dysregulation, which I'm going to tell you next. It is a higher brain and lower brain imbalance that keeping her off regulating her temperature. So this is a form of dysregulation that's more severe, but in just 3 months, she get better and better. And right now, she can, starting from only leave the house for 1 minute, she can leave the house and go do sun bath for more than 10 minutes right now. So you see, success can come, but it didn't happen over time. How many of you ever think that, oh, I will just suddenly, oh, tomorrow wake up? For those who think your symptoms were getting better, how many of you think that, oh, I close my eye, tomorrow I will just suddenly getting better and I suddenly all become normals again? How many of you ever feel like that? If this is you, I'm sorry to tell you that would never, ever, ever, ever happen. 1000%. Healing would happen, but healing don't take overnight. At first, people don't feel nothing at all. They feel the same, but first, the objective things start changing. For example, maybe people will see, hey, you're getting less clumsy. Oh, it seems like they feel like you're not forgetting things that much. But to you, you're still feeling the same because you have been stuck for a long, long time. So that you're not aware, you're actually changing. But then when you keep doing the things that I'm going to tell you in these 3 days, not just your friend would see you improve, but also you'll feel the improvement over time as well. But Rome didn't build in 1 day. It takes time. It takes time. And then one day you will see the shape of the Rome, and then the Rome is built. And for the brain fog, you still remember anyone is anyone tracking so far? I know there's a lot of information. Type tracking down below so that we can go over to the next step. What would be the type of the brain disconnection? Type tracking down below so we can get into the money part. For the brain disconnection, there's mainly 2 types. There's the higher brain versus lower brain disconnection versus left brain and right brain disconnection. Your brain was so complex. But the main area that people can get disconnected and dysregulated is first the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is where it help your executive function, make you make decision, movement. Can you move in a certain way? Are you going to get clumsy, get trips? Inhibition. People get blink a lot. They get sound sensory overload. That's where is get disconnected. And then the parietal lobe is your Google map of your entire body. Some people will have lower body awareness. They will become clumsy because they don't know where's your body. Maybe some people would describe they have this what's that called? This association and this connection. They will feel like they don't believe, they don't belong to themselves. Or some people they would describe they are looking when they do something. They would describe I'm looking myself to do this. For example, I'm drinking. They would describe I'm looking the cup and doing it. They don't feel like themselves. This is a depersonalization disorder. This is all happen in the parietal lobe. And also the cerebellum. This is the most important part of the brain. This part help you balance and coordinate everything. Everything means your think, your memory, your body, your thought is all coordinated by this cerebellum. So if this cerebellum, you can see me highlight in yellow, is really important. If this cerebellum don't work, different part of the brain would not work together. They would just work individually. So imagine if you're a business owner, you have a company, you have a lot of staff. So in order for the company to work the best, each employee has to work their own duty, right? But after they work, maybe they come up this material, another material, they have to coordinate all together to give the final outcome, to give this $1 million business idea, to bring it alive. And this bring it to alive is responsible for this cerebellum. So all different parts of the brain can work completely fine, but if the cerebellum cannot work, it's nothing. You will still have a lot of symptoms. And I often find that almost 90% of the time, people is having a disconnection in the cerebellum. The cerebellum, you can tell, is a really, really small part of the brain here. Cerebellum means the small brain. But this small brain contains more than 70%, 70% of the brain cell in this small area. That means only 30% of the brain cell are on the bigger brain. So this cerebellum is really dang important. So if this don't work, other part don't work, and you have brain fog, and you have all other symptoms that describe, because this add up of these things. And also the last part of the brain area that I found most people get disconnected is this brain stem. How many of you have anxiety issue? You have the anxiety coming out from nowhere. You just feel anxious all the time. You might have air hunger, tightness in the chest. You may having a vagus nerve problem. You have a digestion problem, energy issue. How many of you having the symptoms I just mentioned? Just type number 1 down below so we can go a little bit deeper. Okay, someone said, oh, she have anxiety. So the brain stem, so the brain function pretty simple in a way. Just like a building. The bottom part are the foundation of the brain. Imagine it, for a tall building, the foundation is always the most important. Not the roof, but the foundation. They cannot build to 100 floor if the foundation is not strong enough. So this is all the same case in the brain. So what do the brain stem do is the foundation. All the cranial nerve is in there. Also the vagus nerve also in the brain stem. It control your smell, your hearing, your digestion, your breathing, your energy level, your digestion. Is all in the brain stem. And then you can tell the brainstem cerebellum is really close together because they connect together. If the brainstem don't work that well, cerebellum don't work. If the cerebellum don't work, the brainstem don't work. And then the foundation, the whole foundation of the brain don't work. So that people often have, balance issue, clumsiness, air hunger, anxiety, insomnia. So everything I just mentioned, they often start here and then they will further progress to brain fog, because brain fog, talking about the frontal lobe issue, seems more obvious. So they all actually start from the brainstem and cerebellum first, and then it will further affect the higher order of the brain, causing brain fog. So in short, brain fog, if you're already having brain fog, it means it didn't happen overnight. The foundation of the brain has to stop working as much so that you have brain fog. So it's already having disconnection, but when it getting worse, it gets dysregulated. And you might have a question, am I the case? And then that's why we're going to do some assessment by the end of today and tomorrow to help you identify it. Because some people, an interesting thing is, we keep doing the same things over and over every single day because we're so used to something, so we don't really notice issue. But if I ask you to do something challenging, something new, something really challenge, maybe your balance, your coordination, challenge your brainstem, then things starting to show up. And people and you might get shocked as well. So for this disconnection, it will have two types: higher part, lower part, and then left and right. Higher part, lower part is pretty straightforward that I just mentioned. Usually it starts from the brainstem and the cerebellum. The foundation is not working, so that it causing the frontal lobe, the cognition, the cognitive, the executive function not working. So that this is called the higher part and lower part dysregulation. And then the second type is the left and right dysregulation. Left brain and right brain. Has anyone heard, if you're a left brain person, hey, you must be really analytical, you see the little detail. If you're a right brain person, you must be really creative and seeing the big picture. How many of you hear like that? Okay, someone type yes, super quick. That's me. Have you ever heard that? So this is somewhat true when your brain is working fine. This is more for conceptual function of the brain. But every time, so let's zoom back one step further. Why do we have left brain and right brain? Because we have left hand and right hand. So that we need one part of the brain control different part of the body. So imagine I'm moving my right hand. I'm actually using my left brain. We're using the opposite side of the brain and vice versa. So instead of just saying, hey, you're an analytical person or a creative person, that might lead to maybe ADHD and autism. But for somatic symptoms, people that have a brain imbalance on left and right side, they will often feel one hand or one leg or one side of their body feel more clumsy. They will feel more tight on the same side of the body. Maybe they will have jaw pain, maybe they will have dizziness to one side. They are all unilateral, which means one-sided. For example, like even for Parkinson, it's a left brain, right brain imbalance. Because when you see people with Parkinson, if you Google, when the typical Parkinson, only one hand shake, the other don't. So this is a left brain and right brain. For dizziness, that's also one-sided, because when one side off balance, other brain work harder so that it give you a feelings of you're only turning on one side, so you get dizzy. And also like light sensitivity, because the efficient go down, you're having kind of that sensory overload as well. In a overview, we found that people who have left brain imbalance, which means the left brain is a little bit overworked and a little bit dysfunction, disconnected, they often have a more ADHD side of the symptoms. If they having a white brain, disconnection and dysregulation, they tend to having a autistic spectrum in relatively. And this is quite obvious in children and teenager. And but sometimes can be happening in adult as well if they get these things from their teenage. And it's quite often. And do you still remember the research I showed you? Only 4% of people can actually get better when they're not doing anything. So that's why my point is that's why most people they will take medication to when you go to see doctor, they will just give you, hey, take this pill. How many of you are actually taking medicine right now for the ADHD, for the brain fog? How many people the doctor give you medication? Okay, some people taking ADHD med. So I guess this is familiar to you. When people taking this kind of medication that claim will fix your ADHD, but you have to keep taking it every few hours, and when the medication, when the effect gone, the ADHD comes back, and then over time the symptom getting worse. As by research, that means the medication is not doing anything at all. It's just covering you the symptoms. And do you still remember the cause of the brain fog? Is by is causing by the brain disconnection and dysregulation. So, how come a medication can help different part of the brain to work better again? It didn't make sense to me, because if I just tell you, hey, there's so many specific part of the brain, give you different type of symptoms. That means if you want to regulate a specific part of the brain, you have to do specific things to reconnect and regulate those parts. So that if you're doing generic things, maybe some people do medication, they do meditation, they just go exercise. Those help, but didn't help the root cause, because you have to be really laser focused on those imbalance and only target the part of the brain get dysregulated. When you're doing generic things, you are only getting generic result. If you are doing specific things, you're getting specific outcome. It's really, really simple. And someone asked in the comment, hey, the med seems help turn off the brain so that you don't have ADHD symptoms. Yes, that's exactly. But what the doctor don't tell you is when the medication not just turning off one part of the brain, it turn off the whole brain. So that if you look at people that taking med, especially for kid, they would when they take medication, they seems more chill, they seems more calm because their whole brain literally gets shut down. And then when you go talk to them, they seems like people would describe they don't have a soul. They are living, but they don't have a soul because their brain literally get turning down. They get their life force get dimmed down. As medication would never ever able to target only one part of the brain. Just like you're taking cold medication. When you get cold or flu, you take the running nose medication. Not only your running nose is getting better, like there's no running nose anymore, but you also feel sleepy because it's affecting the whole body rather than laser focus. So medication, in short, is not going to work if you have brain fog and only making the symptoms worse. And I've seen it almost every single of my client. If you're taking medication, often those people is a little bit harder and take longer to heal from the brain fog using my method, because when they're taking medication, they already mess up a lot of chemical. And in general, it takes at least 6 months for the brain to regulate the chemicals again so that it can heal and repair. And brain fog, for the short conclude of today, brain fog is not a mindset problem. It's not something you imagine. It's about the connection and activation problem. When your brain, the brain cell, are not actively connecting, and then they will get disconnected and dysregulated. Just like this. This can literally get disconnected when neuroscientists see it under the microscope. And brain fog is just a warning face. It's telling you something is happening, right? Ignoring it, you are accelerating your decline. Do you still remember the numbers? Over 40% of people above 60 are going to have mild cognitive impairment. Mild means there has already a lot of symptoms coming up. And only 5% of them would get healed, and 70% would get worse in the next 5 years. Is anyone still tracking so far? Awesome. So for tomorrow, I'm going to sneak peek for tomorrow. We're not end yet, the sneak peek for tomorrow. For tomorrow, we're going to go over, hey, what kind of assessment we should do to tell you, hey, am I really the case? Or maybe it's not me, I'm just really the special one. I'm not the one. But I'm going to show you the whole testing, the assessment tomorrow. We can all do it together. If you're coming tomorrow, make sure you bring some pens and paper and clear your space, because we have to maybe stand up and walk and see how well you are doing. But before we go, I want to show you 2 different tests we can do right now to just give you a teaser so that something is really going on. Maybe you have to give you a better motivation to come back. So the first test we're going to do is called the finger tapping test. So it's called the finger tapping test. Finger tapping test. So if you would like, you're welcome to turn on your camera, or maybe we can save it for tomorrow, so that I can literally see and tell you, give you a better insight if something's going on, rather than that's too complex. Okay, so if you are in a safe space, I want you to do something with me together. Put your left hand up like this. Left hand up like this. And then you're going to close your finger, close and open, and then do it as quick as you can. So all other 3 fingers have to be closed, and then close and open as quick as you can. Make sure you don't do small, but do it as big as you can every single time. I saw someone do it small. No, make sure you do it as big as you can. And then repeat the same things on the other hand and do it as quick as you can. The only things I need you to notice at this moment is I want you to feel if one hand feel harder to you. Is one side feel harder, feel slower, or seems like feeling weird? How many of you feel weird or slow on one side of your hand? Just type hand down below so that I know something's going on. This test the finger tapping test is one of the gold standard of screening Parkinson disorder. They found out that is a hallmark of Parkinson's disease. So if you cannot even move your finger, that's pretty solid. Something's going on already. But if you're having difficulty right now, just feel awkward or like snow, probably there's a warning sign for you. You have to take action. And I know what you're thinking. You may be thinking, oh, I am right-handed, so that my left-handed, of course, it feels slower. That's of course because I don't use it as much. But then the research suggests otherwise. Research show that it didn't matter if you're left-handed or right-handed, it should be still moving the same. And for you guys who want to know more, is your right hand is controlled by your right hand controlled by your left brain. That means if you cannot move your right hand, something must be happening from the left brain all the way to the tips of the finger and telling us something's going on. So this test is the hallmark used by medical doctor, used by neurologists to detect early change of brain degeneration, like brain fog, so to say. So that if you have it, make sure you come back tomorrow and you'll be surprised. We're going to do different type of test. Maybe we'll do 5 to 6, and then I'm going to show you guys how do you map out, draw your map to know are you a left brain dysfunction, right brain, or high brain, lower brain. So make sure you come back tomorrow. So this is for today masterclass. So we are going to stay for a few other minutes to answer some question. If you have question, you're welcome to just turn on your mic, or you can type it in the chat, and then we will take care of it. So some people said, oh, really slight difference. Just slight is okay. So for this test, hey, by the way, if you have the snowless on the test before, like the test we just did, don't panic, because one test didn't mean anything. But if you have a lot of tests that's positive, that means something's going on. There's a higher chance something's going on. We're collecting picture to know how bad, maybe how extensive the involvement is actually coming out from the brain. Okay, someone said, I think it's Cam or Carmen or Cam. So this is someone asked, hey, some people have non-stop dizziness but they're not from the ear. They go to see the doctor. Nothing's really happening in the traditional framework. Like, because when we talk about dizziness, it should be coming from the ear. But then this Cam asked, hey, there's no problem in the ear. Where would be the dizziness coming from? So this is one thing people or most doctors don't understand is about the dizziness not necessarily coming from the ear, but coming from how your brain process information. So if you still remember, I mentioned the brain cell has to connect to work at 100%. They have to connect well to function. Dizziness is only a feelings coming from your brain. That means if anything happen in your brain, inside your brain, not necessarily the ear, you will feel dizzy. It's a sensory mismatch. It's just like the ADHD people that has a sensory overload. This is the same thing for dizziness. Because for the ear, it's only a sensor. The ear tell you, are you moving or not? And then your brain are the masterminds to control your feelings. So most of the time, probably I would say more than 70% of the dizziness, they are not only having problem in the ear, but also having a connection problem in the brain, so that they also feel dizzy as well. I hope that answers your question. brain fog, ADD. Yep, we just go over the entire seminar. Brain fog, ADD, ADHD is almost the same thing, but they right now, I think few years ago, they changed the name and then they get rid of the ADD and put it inside the ADHD spectrum. But it's all a type of brain fog and cognitive decline. So if you have ADD, yeah, make sure you come back tomorrow. Okay, so thanks everyone for coming today. So tomorrow, make sure you bring a piece of paper, clear your space to do some assessment together, and you'll be shocked. Okay, we'll see you guys tomorrow, sharp, same times, uh, 8 p.m. Is it 8 p.m. EST time? I think same time tomorrow. Okay, see you guys. Bye bye.